The Gunpowder Plot was a setup to demonise Catholics, and I can prove it. For those of you who don't know, the Gunpowder Plot is the biggest attempted terrorist attack in UK history. It happened in 1605 and it failed, and a man named Guy Fawkes was caught trying to blow up the House of Lords with gunpowder. But let me talk to you about a man called Robert Catesby, who, contrary to popular belief, was the actual leader of the Gunpowder Plot and not Guy Fawkes. Catesby was a dedicated Catholic and he hated England's pro-Protestant laws. In 1601, he took part in the failed Essex Revolt, which aimed to overthrow Queen Elizabeth I. After a trial led by a man named Robert Cecil, most of the ringleaders were executed, but Robert Catesby strangely only escaped with a fine. Fast forward to 1605, with King James I now on the throne and religious tensions at an all-time high, Robert Catesby decides to have another crack at destroying the monarchy. Catesby puts together a crew of about a dozen people, but the three we need to focus on today are Guy Fawkes, Thomas Percy and Francis Tresham. A few days before the plot is meant to take place, a lord receives an anonymous letter warning of an impending attack, which leads to Guy Fawkes getting caught red-handed with the gunpowder under the House of Lords. Learning of the plot's failure, the other conspirators flee to Holbeach House, where they end up in a massive shootout with the local guard. In this shootout, 4 people are killed, including Robert Catesby and Thomas Percy. Now, Thomas Percy is interesting because Robert Cecil, who I mentioned earlier, Thomas Percy knew him personally because he was a member of the King's Guard, and Robert Cecil knew that he was a Catholic. Francis Tresham was accused of writing the anonymous letter that blew the lid on the plot, but he always denied this even after being tortured, and he mysteriously died while under the supervision of Robert Cecil. Many accused Robert Cecil of writing the letter personally, and he did this because he allegedly had insider knowledge of the plot. But the only 3 people who could have testified in court that it was him who wrote the letter all conveniently died before the trial began. A trial, by the way, that he personally was overseeing. So, did Robert Cecil spare Robert Catesby in 1601 so he could use him as a tool to round up religious opposition a few years later? This evidence says yes.